Leave mending alone is a comment I've gotten a surprising amount recently. There's even a video by Phoenix with the better part of 1 million views saying, Mojang, please do not remove mending, which makes many wonder, is this actually going to be removed? We have some evidence that they're going to tweak it this week, but why are so many scared of its full removal? Also, why did Mojang roll out an update this week which has the exact same name as the summer drop for Java? That is to say, why make new names if they're going to be inconsistent? And indeed, why are there so many inconsistencies between Bedrock and Java, like that one, that even extend to the changes that we're expecting to see to mending as an enchantment? This is the fascinating question, and it's one of many that I want to answer today because, hello, I'm IVX welcome back to Q&A Saturday, and I got this fun comment saying, people are still playing Minecraft when we have Hightail? Lol. And it made me realize that the only real reason that I'm playing Bedrock is because of this great exclusive feature, which is the ability to press B or X and get the ability to emote in your game. This is of course incredible, and they just can't match this on Hightail. Oh no, friend of the channel, Prow actually reports, as you can see right here, that you can now emote and wave in Hightail, but thank God, my favorite Bedrock exclusive that's not on Java or Hightail is the ability to go to settings and then read about the game that you're playing. I do this all of the time in my game, and I've always thought that this is one of the best things about Bedrock that can never be replicated, and oh no, is Reforged taking that idea as well? It actually looks like they're using this to add a kebab to the game, and I've just got to say, adding kebabs to Minecraft would be the easiest way to go after my heart, but what's interesting is that many of Minecraft's competitors are taking these quite big features that are on Bedrock that many Java players might say they don't want, but are these therefore the future of gaming? This is the big point I'm always making about Bedrock, about there are lots of weird short-term decisions, but in the long run it seems to be making certain better ones. Am I crazy for saying that? Maybe, but am I crazy for saying that in the same way that Minecraft's competition are looking at Minecraft for features, should Bedrock be looking at its competition? I mean, Stardew Valley just turned 10 years old, and to celebrate, they decided to bring out 2 new marriage candidates, Clint and Sandy. Should Minecraft Bedrock be adding marriage to the game? Here is my genius idea. But speaking of things I'm not really married to, I would like to talk about the idea of Minecraft having this weird version system. Why make the new names if they're going to be inconsistent? Because this is a really short and simple answer, thanks to this fun little graphic that was put together by Harrison, who you might know as one of the big editors on this channel. And what's fun about Harrison's little graphic here is it actually explains things perfectly, and this is the difference between a preview and a release for Bedrock, and indeed on Java it's the same, just with a smaller 1-digit number as opposed to 2. This makes perfect sense, and the only reason that I think everything's fallen apart is that Minecraft's 26.02 update is called 26.2. This is something that internally the game has to call it. It's 1.26.2, but I do feel like this would be so easily fixed by just making the public version the one that you see in your game, since it's already not 1.26 anyway. Just make it 26.02, and then everyone will understand at least a little bit, at least those who are informed. And yeah, speaking of confusion, I think confusion also describes the strategy around mending, because you might see a video saying that mending is being removed, you might see that Jeb's talking about how mending is a serious problem, and you might hear those things and say, so are we going to lose access to mending? And I would like to use this video to remind everyone that basically no matter what happens in Minecraft, it's very rare that they make retroactive changes to your existing worlds. That is to say, if Mojang removes or nerfs a trade, as long as you have villagers that currently sell it, those villagers will be unaffected. It's like if they bring out a new biome, it won't go into your existing world, only into new chunks. This is exactly how it works with villagers and their trades, and it's exactly how Mojang has done most other things in the game. For example, when they changed the recipe for the enchanted golden apple, or rather fully removed it, they didn't remove your existing enchanted golden apples, so as long as you know when an update is coming, you can be ahead of the game. And if Mojang were to remove mending, in big words, then realistically you would keep mending on your existing tools, which is one of the big reasons they probably won't remove it. What are they looking to do instead? Well, what I thought was really interesting is that Jeb did respond to this article put out called More Than Nostalgia the lost soul of Minecraft, and he said that there was a lot to respond to in there, and he mostly spoke about the campfire and the creeper, but we know that Jeb has read what I think is a really good write-up of the problem that exists with both mending and with the anvil. That is to say that maximizing gear is an extremely monotonous task, and while that has been the case ever since enchanting was added, it has only become more clear as the need for stronger gear has increased. Currently, your options are to AFK farm XP for hours, repeatedly adding enchantments with the enchanting table, and then re-rolling with the grindstone, or capture librarians in little boxes, break and replace their lecterns until they sell the desired enchantments, then apply them on an anvil. And this is true for every enchantment in the game, and it's no surprise that many people choose the second option as opposed to free, which is both of the above. But what's really interesting here is that Mojang have made the first option, which is already quite undesirable, but at least can be attained through real gameplay. You don't have to AFK XP farm, you can go fight mobs, but then they added the too expensive thing, which means that actually, if you try to manually add these enchantments, you'll eventually be told by the game, no, the way you're meant to do this is you're meant to go and put your librarian villagers in little boxes, or in theory, fish or go out and look for them, but very few people consider those to be worthwhile options. The two best options are these, and one of these doesn't work for mending, and even if it did, it would still be far less efficient than the second. That is to say that enchantments in Minecraft have a fundamental problem, but the response to this fundamental problem has been quite weird from Mojang. That is to say that they did experiment for a little bit. It's an experiment, it is not fully coming to the game under any plans we have so far, but Mojang experimented with making mending as a trade only possible from swamp villagers at the max level, as opposed to possible everywhere all the time, kind of making that more of a skill-based process, but that still didn't fix the other problem that it's the only real way of getting mending all the time. And so Shadow666 asked Jeb, have you considered just removing or adjusting the anvil level cap? I can feel a bit punishing in the late game, so he was wondering if there are any plans around that, and he said that not really. He obviously doesn't know what's going to happen in the future, but the purpose of the cap is that all items are intended to be impermanent. Mending is a different issue. In other words, Jeb says the problem is not that you can't repair your gear properly, the problem is that you can get mending really easily, just like I have on all of my tools, and then it makes all of your gear permanent. This is a huge change because in my world, prior to title update 43, or just prior to mending coming out for Java or Bedrock players, you used to have to make a bunch of tools, and look what happens. Eventually those tools would get to the point where they were fully broken, or they would fully disintegrate. This was a core part of Minecraft's gameplay loop that kind of just went missing thanks to the advent and the wide discoverability of mending. And so this is something that Jeb sees as a major problem, and so are Mojang going to remove mending? Well, genuinely it seems like not only ignoring the fact that they would probably let you keep it, I think it's very unlikely that they would do this, partially because so many players love mending, and, well, actually partially because Jeb very much understands that fact. This is what Jeb said when they were asked if you should just remove mending. He said that people would lose their minds. Now, is Jeb, who is very measured and cool and has actually not implemented changes, even that he really likes the idea of, like changing the crafting grid to not be a grid, but is Jeb likely to do something that would make people lose their minds? I don't think necessarily it's on the to-do list. And again, based on everything we know so far, it's very unlikely that they would remove mending from your existing tools. The very worst case is that somehow mending gets a slight nerf, but realistically, mending is here to stay, and you don't need to worry too much about that, is what I would say. But you know what else I would say? Well, obviously, it's the fact that if Mojang are so concerned about what people want, then they're going to announce the end update at Minecraft Live this year, which is what Namhawk79 is screaming as they drag him into the funny marshmallow room. I'm glad that we have one of the few self-aware audiences on YouTube that's aware of what is actually happening, which is that an end update would be great, and I would love to see one, but we have been wanting an end update for the last 5 or so cycles now, and so is this going to be the end update? No, but or at least it's not guaranteed, but I certainly want to hope so, and this is Rachel Animate saying, Mojang are going to spend the next month making a really awesome April Fool's update with exactly 0 features that will actually be added to the vanilla game. And what I would say to this is, actually, can't we say from all of the previous April Fools that Mojang are getting so much experience of working on new dimension features? That sure would be handy. Were they working on the end? Wow, they should drag me away, I think, at this point. But no, there is a real point that the April Fool's update is actually not made using normal development time. Genuinely, they use it, they make it on their off time because they're allowed to make it buggy and they're allowed to have incompatible features from different developers. There's an argument that if you just let every Minecraft developer do what they want, we would end up with far more features, like in the April Fool's update, but we'd also get far more features that contradict, like Mending and the Anvil. By the way, isn't it ironic? This was a comment I got on my most recent Seed Sunday. Isn't it ironic how the H-Man seed is more beautiful than the rest? Well, I would say he was a painter. Speaking of being a painter, I think I would like to spend a second to come into a mystery that I have discovered a few weeks ago that I just want to kind of come into today, because Brock Needs Coffee is a principal engineering manager at Microsoft working on the Bedrock edition. He's followed by multiple other employees, and he said something interesting on February the 10th, which is one thing he enjoys seeing most is the community responding to changelogs. Sometimes they are spot on about what we are cooking up, other times they say it's weird that we did a thing and not realizing it's a small piece to a much larger puzzle. Thanks all for being so passionate about #Minecraft. My immediate thought about this is like, oh, he's probably referring to the fact that they keep making these subtle changes for offhand on Bedrock. That's my personal end update. You can scrap your end update if you just give us 2 functional hands on Bedrock that I can use. But and indeed, faster healing, the correct amount of healing, any amount of healing that isn't 1 minute 16 seconds for a full health bar. But anyway, to leave my rant aside, I think what's interesting is exactly what he's talking about, because it was posted on the day of the 26.0 update, which had a huge changelog with all sorts of weird changes. I would highlight the render dragon features for creators, having way loads of changes happening there. So is this a hint that the Vibrant Visuals V2 update is on its way? Or, indeed, as Sergio123 says, did they remove Herobrine? They did not in this changelog. I'm just saying, you look at this changelog, you see they didn't remove Herobrine. It's a much bigger part of what the real 4th dimension and new boss is going to be. Wouldn't that be such a killer idea to sneakily get away with just adding Herobrine one day? It's kind of actually, I feel like it's a shame that they almost certainly won't, but they almost certainly should. Speaking of things you almost certainly should do, have you considered liking this video? Because I really liked my Yorkshire pudding wrap yesterday. You actually, don't let current me tell you, let past me explain. Oh, he actually didn't do very much explaining, but I can make up for that right now by saying that I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to stay tuned to the channel if you want to know exactly what is happening. I would say that the thing that is most likely in terms of changes happening in the next couple of weeks is we are going to be getting that Minecraft Live announcement, perhaps literally while this video is uploading. I think that it's the last day of February, and so that's a big thing. I expect to see a Minecraft update coming very, very shortly, and hopefully it will be the end of Bedrock and Java's weird overlap period. And also, I expect to see some changes in the Java snapshots, like we always see when Bedrock is done with its updates. Right now, Bedrock is about to start its long cert process to get the update ready for Minecraft Live, but while they do that, I think Java is going to take some cues and finish up some features that are still missing from its version, and the most notable is the removal of the level 5 trade from the librarian, which is currently a name tag. Again, if you have existing name tag trades, those will stay, but they have removed this from Bedrock, but not from Java. And weirdly, on Bedrock, they just removed the level 5 trade. It feels really weird, which makes me think that maybe they have some plans for it, and maybe that plan could relate to guaranteed good enchantments, or it could relate to some better way to actually do this system. And so if they haven't added it on Java when it was a simple remove, it makes me think that they've got some plans. So I'm going to stay tuned for Tuesday for Mending changes. But to be clear, Jeb knows that people would lose their mind if they removed it, and I think that given how slow certain big projects at Mojang move, given how it's taken them 10 years to add the offhand to Bedrock, which is popular and which wouldn't cause people to lose their minds, even if they are planning to remove Mending, you probably have a good decade plus of it. That would be my good news for you. Speaking of good news, thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see a couple of members-only ones, apparently we have 2 of those this week, the full cut of the World Tours, as well as a half Let's Play episode, and otherwise, I'll see you on the live stream tonight. Goodbye.